Yo, I'm Drew, and today I want to talk about this situation that happened about a week ago where I was flying to Amsterdam and the flight got grounded because of the smell of weed. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around this, a lot of people who don't really understand the full situation, so I just wanted to make a video here and explain what actually happened. If you haven't seen what actually happened, check out this video here.
A strong smell of cannabis coming into the flight deck, and there was a strong smell throughout the cabin. So that's the reason we cancelled our start. And I'm just going to be very honest with you. If there's anybody in the cabin that smelled cannabis or just smoked it or just has a smell around it, please come forward and just be completely honest with it.
Do you see my trouble out?
I'm sure he doesn't care. I swear to God, the police came on and said, have you guys not heard of secondhand smoke? If the pilot smells it, they could be getting high. That's not how that works, mate. They took my medication and some other people on the plane who have prescriptions. They said we have to put it into the hold and we get it when we get off the plane. How dumb. Hey, bruv, so the medication has just come off this carousel onto here, just alone, nobody with it, multiple people's medication all in one bag. So let me give some context behind this. I'm a medical cannabis patient here in the UK. I have a prescription for my cannabis. I fly with it all of the time. And this was even a flight to Amsterdam. So never even considered that it could be a problem. I fly this route all the time, almost every single week, and it's never been a problem. Especially on top of that, when I go through security at the airport, I show them my medical part, they check my ID, they check my boarding pass, everything is absolutely fine. So to have this situation happen was really jarring. It really didn't make any sense, and I think some people really don't quite actually understand what happened. I've seen some people go around spreading misinfo about what actually happened, which is very strange because, you know, people just make stuff up, I guess. So let me explain what actually happened first before I clarify anything. So what actually happened on this flight was that obviously I'm a medical cannabis user, I'm a medical cannabis consumer. I've come onto the flight, I've smelled a bit like bud. Obviously, I'm gonna have my prescription with me, I've just consumed. There's gonna be a tiny bit of smell of bud on me, like as I walk past you, right? It's not gonna be anything that affects anyone for longer than 2 seconds after I walk past you. If I'm sat next to you, the smell's gonna go away after 2 seconds, you know what I mean? Like, you get used to it. That's how the human nose works. So I get on this plane, I walk past the stewardesses, I sit down, and the plane just doesn't move for like 40 minutes. And we could hear like someone saying something about the smell of weed, and essentially it was because as I've come on and there's also 4 other medical cannabis prescription holders on this plane as well. So not just me, but these other people as well. These people have obviously walked past the stewardesses and they smelt a bit like weed. They've smelt the weed and they've got concerned about it. Obviously, when you walk on a plane, the cockpit is right there. Like, obviously, if you walk past, maybe they smell it for like a quick second in there as well. And so after everyone sat down, everyone's just waiting for the plane to leave, the plane doesn't leave. And nothing's going on for about 30-45 minutes until eventually the police come on the plane. The police are coming on the plane at the same time they're making this announcement. They make this weird announcement that I just showed you in the video where they say that there was the smell of weed as people boarded the plane, and that if anyone has consumed before they got on the plane, then they should come forwards and this weird stuff. And as they're saying this, the police are outside the plane. They're coming on already. So it was a bit of a weird situation because, I mean, at the end of the day, all anyone needed to do was just quickly ask, like, hey, sorry, we smelt weed when you walked past. We were just wondering, like, what's that about? Like, you know, we've already gone through security at this point as well. So even that is still really strange to me. Like, it's a very, very strange situation. Then the police come on. The police have no idea about medical cannabis. They have, like, no idea. They didn't even understand that the companies were real. They just are completely clueless to it. So as we're going through everything, it takes like 30 minutes for somebody else, not even me, for somebody else to prove that they have a medical cannabis prescription. Then I obviously sort of stepped up at this point and was like, look, if there's just one person doing this right now, they're going to get thrown off the plane. Like 100%. Well, that's the way I'm seeing it. If one person is just doing this, they are at risk of the police just suddenly going, get off, get this plane going, you're on the next one. So I've obviously come up and said, look, I've got medical cannabis as well. I'm obviously smelling as well, like, you know, all this. And somebody else does the same thing. So at this point, 5 medical cannabis consumers, or prescription holders, sorry, and consumers, you know, whatever you want to call it, they have come forward with their prescriptions as well. The police at this point are now trying to say that the pilots could get high from the smell of the weed, which is not how that works. Obviously, it starts going on about, oh, well, have you not heard of secondhand smoke? You need to smoke for that to happen. That doesn't happen just from the smell. So at this point, obviously, we just want to get going. We want to go. The police have no idea what they're doing. They're saying that the pilots are going to get high from the smell. And they say that, well, if you want to leave now, if you want everything to go and everything, we need to put your bud in the hold. We need to get your prescriptions and put them in the hold, which shouldn't really happen. Obviously, nobody else is legally allowed to be in possession of your medical cannabis. Not only that, it's a controlled drug. On top of that, how do you know somebody's not going to take it and take some out of it? And then on top of that, they took all of our medical cannabis prescriptions and put it into one bag and gave somebody who I didn't even know a ticket to get the bag back, okay? Then they've put the bag with all of the prescription stuff into the hold. The plane's landed, we've gone to the people and gone, hey, is somebody gonna then give us this right now? Like as we come off, and they go, no, we've put it all in one bag, it's going on the carousel. So then we've rushed to get to the carousel, but we get to the carousel, there's a big see-through plastic bag with everyone's prescription bud in it, just coming down the carousel. The ticket made no sense because there was nobody on the other end to give that ticket to and show like, hey, no, it just came onto the public carousel with everyone's stuff in it. Anyone could have just taken it. So that was a situation of what happened. It was super, super dumb. And there's been some misinformation around this as well, like some people who obviously don't understand what's happening. To be very clear, nobody smoked on the plane, nobody consumed on the plane, nobody vaped on the plane, nothing like that happened. On top of that, the whole plane did not even smell like weed like some people might be suggesting. It's just that as people came on, they smelt weed. Like that is literally what this was all over. Just the fact that they smelt it. Not that the whole thing smelt like bud. You've also got to remember, this was like an hour ordeal. If there was any tiny smell of bud, it's already gone by this point, you know what I mean? So that's one main thing. Now, another thing which I've seen a couple people post like this, where people try and say that I opened a pot and I'm waving it about. Quite ironically, on this same post, somebody calls me a misinformation machine, while they just make something up about the situation. Nobody ever opened up no pots. Nobody ever was showing stuff around. I wasn't even the first person to go up to the police to speak about the prescription. So when I see people saying stuff like that, I just think it's weird. Also, as a side note, this is why everyone thinks that medical cannabis Reddit is super toxic, because they just make stuff up and just run with it. And it's just a hate-fueled area of people that just aren't very nice. So just thought I would say that as well as a side note. So there's two main things to take away from this, which is number one, it shouldn't have been escalated like this in the first place, especially over the small smell of something. Like imagine if somebody walked onto the plane with a curry that smelt while they're eating it. You're not going to call the police, right? And then number two, the lack of police education was just absolutely astonishing. I can't really say too much more other than what I've said here, because I will be taking legal action against both the police and British Airways, because this situation just wasn't on. I just wanted to clear up some stuff here for what people were saying. Like I said, I wish I could sort of give further points on what my opinion was on both the police education and also British Airways themselves, but I can't really say too much other than what I've said already. So I hope that clears stuff up. That's the situation. Hope you guys have a good day, and yeah, in a bit.